peak productivity masterclass. This is my actual real life office setup. I'm going to take you through it. I didn't try and change really much at all. I wanted to show you a real life example without making everything perfect. So I'm going to start off at my desk. As we've talked about, as you will see if you haven't already, the ultra wide monitor is amazing because look how many windows I can get up at once. This is the real situation of what's going on. Just before I was actually building the masterclass out, and you can see here, right? So you can see real life action of how much more productive you can be. Instead of task switching so much, you can save so much time with an ultra wide. Instead of having a single screen, I can keep everything up at once and save a lot of time and move from task to task much more efficiently and effectively. Now you see I have my phone here. This is not what I have when I'm real life working, okay? I do not have my phone here. I have it here to show you the great Philips Hue lighting. So we got here, got like a makeup light. Just like a $20 makeup light, right? And then I have up there, I have the Elgato screen key light, which is more expensive, which I've used in the past before, but I'm just using these right now. We've got Philips Hue, and this is extremely bright, and it can change colors depending on what you need at the time. I'll do that more for night. I'll even go red at night as well. I know it might be hard to see, but it can change colors, but I'll always keep it on. If you get this lighting, which I highly recommend, I always keep it on energized, the brightest possible light in the morning so I can drive attention, arousal, focus, and concentration. And it's pointed just, a foot away from my eyes and face. Particularly helpful when you have more overcast weather to drive more concentration and focus when you haven't been able to get outside yet. Now, then I will get rid of this phone. It's out of my peripheral vision. I'll throw it away, right? But keep talking about lighting. You see these blinds are down right now because the camera and the lighting. But I will typically always keep this open for a lot of natural light. Now, the upside of this is more natural light, and we know that's going to help our attention and focus. The downside is there's distractions outdoors. So it's a give and take trade-off depending on what works best for you. You can see I got actual sticky notes here that show like what I'm trying to focus on and what I want a kind reminder of. We'll talk about the reticular activating system. Your mind sees what it believes, right? And so I'm trying to remind myself of certain cues to perform and do and run. This is for my clients. I try and remember to ask them what are they grateful for at the end of their check-ins. Always have water available because of how important hydration is. Come over here. I got Pellegrinos always on deck, right? So I got a Pellies here on the ground because if I don't have time or don't want to interrupt my flow too much from going downstairs and upstairs to get more water, I got some here, okay? Come back. So lighting, hydration, always on deck. I read one of these cards every morning, and this is actually where a lot of the quotes that I share come from. And if you have the will to conquer anger, it cannot conquer you, right? So I start off my day with something mind stimulating and something to share to the world. Now, this desk, amazing, okay? Not just because it's so big, and notice my space is actually quite minimalist. I know it's a big screen taking up, but it moves. So then I'll sit down, I'll spend when do you sit, when do you stand? When I feel like it, right? Is it really like when I feel like I've been sitting too long, and usually that's like an hour to 90 minutes, I can feel it in my body, you can feel it in your body, I'll go to the stand, right? And it's so quiet, you can't even hear it when I'm on a video call. It sounds silent. A standing desk, you can get cheap ones from Officeworks, as you guys see in the Notion. You can get ones that your screen just sits on for like $100, $200. This right here, about $1,000. But 100% worth the investment. I couldn't recommend it enough. Now, there's also, as you guys might have seen in my promo video, this right here. This is a Fortis foldable treadmill from Kogan, okay? It's heavy. It's the smallest treadmill you'll be able to find, and usually in the past I've walked and worked, and I've clocked up over 100 kilometers on that thing over the course of about a year, I think. And so this is a great way to habit stack walking, working, being productive, and compile multiple things together if you're trying to be ultimately more productive and efficient. Now, camera. you guys see why my webcam looks so good, why my camera looks so good, is because this is a Sony a7S II DSLR camera. This is connected via a cable to the back of my computer. Okay, come over here. You'll see. See if you can get that. See if you can get this cable right here. This cable is connected, cam link, as you guys will see in the Notion, it's connected to my computer, USB 3.0, to the side of that DSLR camera. Okay, and then I'll have a bracket here, which I have my power board attached to, and that will kind of, I know the cable management doesn't look good, a lot of people clown me for that, but it's a standing desk, it moves, you can't have perfect cable management with a standing desk. I do my best, a bunch of external hard drives as well on deck to store a lot of my data, because I don't delete a lot of the original footage. And then I'll see, you'll need for Philips Hue, if you get the Philips Hue lighting, which I highly recommend, you'll need one of these units, these white units, which I've just unplugged. And that will connect wirelessly all your lighting throughout the house. You gotta make sure you get that. Here, my whiteboard, more reticular activating system, more things to remind myself of. I don't use this as much, I use a lot of pen and paper now, but I'll have like things that I need to focus on. Like at the start of 2022, it was like a mantra and focus of more and better. Speed, you see that is very part of my nature, and my focus over the last few years has been speed of action and execution. So I'll have these things in my environment to remember the things that are important to me and the way I want to show up in life, okay? Obviously, you're looking at this office setup, you see the window, you see a big, like a lot of natural lighting in here. There's another window behind you. This is an example of the open plane, a lot of windows, a lot of natural light. And then there's the example of the Hormozy, which I showed you guys, and I'll show you guys in the presentation, which is closet, no windows, no distraction, no nothing. You're gonna have to test and find out what works best for you. This I like, but I do notice sometimes I'll get distracted and look out the window and I'll be like vigilant to people on the street out of like protection, but there's a trade-off to everything. Consider it. Now, let's talk about more things in my environment. Not only to look good when you're on a call, in a meeting, check-ins, anything with clients or people, not only does this backdrop look good, I'm actually in the middle of moving out right now. So this is very minimalist. There used to be 2 of these IKEA bookshelves, which are cheap and easy to get, and they would have a nice big setup of a bunch of books. Now, as we're moving out, I've had to minimize it as I'm getting things out. So that's why Jay-Z here is on the floor. But I would encourage you guys to find figures, people, influencers that have been large influencers on your house. I don't mean Instagram influencers, I mean people and figures that have influenced you a lot throughout your lifetime, Jay-Z being one of those people. On these walls, I used to have more. I used to have more posters like Jay-Z, The Weeknd was there. It was like an expression of my art or my interests and curiosities. And then you guys will see some different stuff, okay? You'll see that's here for a reason, the little New York City globe. That's more reticular activating system at work. You'll see I used to have a bunch of figurines and Lego in the background. And you see the best evil character of all time, Darth Maul, Joker, and the Batman. I change up my setup and refreshen it like every 6 months to 12 months. I used to have a bunch of plants. Some of them died, and we had to get rid of them. But plants are great to make your environment look more vibrant and take CO2 out of the air and clean your air. Okay, so that can be a great addition, is plants really look professional, they look clean, it looks vibrant. It's a great feel for you and the person who's observing you on the camera. A bunch of books, this classic setup. You'll see some people and video creators, they'll put lighting, which I used to do. In some of my older videos, some of you may have seen like a glow from my video in the back, which actually looked very nice. And I would have Philips Hue lighting in the back here. Now we're moving out, trying to get everything out. So this setup is not all it can be, but I will show you guys more in the future once we set up bigger and better things. I would recommend you guys put lighting here in the back to shine it upwards and out, and it adds a really beautiful glow. You could do the same as a little bit of a lamp. So that Philips Hue light, there's a taller lamp as well that you guys can use. And that can add a really nice ambiance to the videos you shoot and when you're communicating with people. So backdrop, I used to be self-conscious about this. I used to be self-conscious about putting quote-unquote nerdy things that were a part of my, an older identity, a part of my youth growing up. And what I just wanted to put it there because it's a bit of nostalgia for me. It's a bit of almost like expression of enjoyment, or what I used to enjoy more, and what I still do in some ways. But because I actually put this, I noticed that people were able to relate to me a lot more. And people would be almost disarmed by my serious nature, because one client I remember, I've had multiple people say, one client I remember, he's like, oh man, once I saw like the Darth Maul in the background, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get along with this guy. Like, I feel like, we're gonna get along now. Because our people will put us on a pedestal and think we're perfect or just like heroic in every single way possible, or we're hard to relate to. And I think having these symbols of your other parts of your character and personality can be really powerful and profound to connect with people on a deeper level. One of the other pieces is air. I don't have an air filter in here. The air in Melbourne is pretty clean, and there's a plant here. But I would recommend using one, particularly if you're close to a highway, close to a CBD, in a dirtier city, for example. I do have an air conditioner though. And the air conditioner, I feel like I work a lot better in a cooler room. I sleep a lot better, and I feel like I work a lot better because the warmth is comfortable and it makes me feel cushy and nice, and it feels nice. I don't want to feel nice when I work. I want to be on edge, focused, concentrated. And so for me, actually the cool temperature helps a lot. But I've read research as well saying the opposite. The opposite, that actually a warmer temperature, 22 to 25 degrees Celsius, is actually better to minimize error tasks and get people to focus and hold attention more. So you're gonna have to test what works better for you. The cold works better for me, contrary to the research and evidence, but that's something to consider, is making sure you're regulating your temperature carefully. And if you do have an air conditioner, make sure it's not brushing up against the microphone. Now, speaking of the microphone, this is not, our podcast microphones are better, right? I don't need to upgrade right now because it does the job fine, the Audio-Technica. But what we do have is this adjustable mic stand. You definitely either want that or something sitting on your desk. The microphone quality is on orders of magnitude better and clearer and crisper, and looks better than you talking from some AirPods. It's professional. It conveys authority, respect, and like you've really put attention to detail into and care about setting up something that is really professional and impressive. And that goes a long way to earning respect and trustworthiness. So we've got the mic. These are the headphones I use, the Audio-Technica headphones I use when I'm listening to my binaural beats, when I'm focusing, when I'm learning, when I'm studying, whatever I'm doing. And other than that, I like to keep a minimalist, clean environment, and I recommend you guys do the same. You do like a cleanse, like a detox of your entire environment, and get rid of almost everything that you don't think is important, that isn't adding to your environment. If it's not bringing joy, if it does not have utility, get rid of it. Because even these little guys right here, like these guys are on my desk, the Buddha and like the four heads of Buddha, like that means something to me. I actually fidget with it and play with it when I'm thinking or someone's telling me something. And that's actually, it's these little things that no one knows about that I'm kind of letting you guys on the inside on. And so I'm actually buying more figurines like this to give me subtle and subconscious reminders of the person I want to be and the things and values that are important to me. So I believe that is everything. We've covered lighting, we've covered the screen, we've covered sound, temperature, backdrop. This is my current workflow environment. If you got any questions or suggestions to even upgrade it, let me know. But here it is. I hope it was valuable.